Live from ESSKA 2026 in Prague, we are truly honored to welcome one of the most influential figures in modern orthopedic sports medicine and knee surgery, Stefano Zaffagnini, Professor of Orthopedics and Traumatology at the University of Bologna and head of the Sports Traumatology Center at the world-renowned Rizzoli Orthopaedic Institute in Bologna, Italy. In a coffee break with Dr. Jari Dauman, Amsterdam University Medical Center's University of Amsterdam. My name is Takeshi Hima, and this is On The Go, the podcast all around Orthoregeneration.
Welcome, Professor Stefano on the podcast, on the ONtheGO Podcast. We're very glad to have you here.
Thank you.
In Prague during ESSKA. And we're very honored to have you here. And as some of our listeners always notice, we ask our guests, how do they drink their coffee and where?
I normally drink a coffee early morning because I wake up at 6, so at 7 I am already in the hospital. So normally I take my first coffee is in my chicken, and normally I take a macchiato.
Macchiato?
Yes.
Espresso macchiato?
Espresso macchiato, yes.
And then when you arrive at the hospital and...
I arrive at the hospital around 7:05, and then I look at the email first, and then if I have to go to OR, normally at 7:20 I will be in OR, because our sessions start about 7:30.
Yeah.
So at 7:30 I have my knife on my hand already.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And so how does that day look like for you? You do surgery until like 6 p.m. or?
Normally I do OR normally in the morning, so I start 7:30. I normally do 3 to 4 cases, and I'm arriving about 1 p.m. And then I do office in the afternoon, or I do private patient in the afternoon as a surgical. This is on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the rest, I do office, and sometimes I do research.
Yeah. Are there particular days that you do your research?
Normally, I don't do surgery and do nothing on Friday. So normally, Friday is focused on research and following the study that we are doing and so on.
Yeah, and maybe also focus on JO and everything.
Yes, no, the JO every day.
Every day, yeah.
The JO is very every day, starting from looking the email, because we have a lot of paper coming in.
Yeah.
And so it's very tough. And in the last 2 years, it's increasing a lot the number of paper that arrive. So it's really a time-consuming day. So in between cases, as soon as I saw paper arriving, I check and send and dislocate it to everyone.
Yeah, and this is getting more and more and more with number of submissions.
So it's quite tough.
Yeah, great. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, we know your background, but maybe you could also tell our listeners a bit of your background, because from what I read, you started in the same university where you're still at.
University of Bologna. Yeah. I was studying because my family lives in Faiance, that is a city of ceramic, that is 50 kilometers from Bologna. So I always study there, and then I do my residency there. And after my residency, I was so lucky to be sent to Pittsburgh for 1 year almost, and staying with Freddy Fu and Savio Wu, because at that time they were together. And so this is grown my really capacity and volunteer to do research, because the research is part of my background for sure now, and I still try to put in the head of my residency the need to do research if you want to become a real good surgeon. Mm-hmm. Because without putting questions every day for why I do this or how I can improve something, is no sense for me.
Yeah. And that's something that you started learning in Pittsburgh.
I started learning in Pittsburgh because I finished my residency in 92, and in 93 I was in Pittsburgh. So it was at the beginning of my career. And at that time we have a beginning of a biomechanics lab in our institute. So I was involved with Sandra Martelli, that was a mathematician where I started doing research. And that is coming back. I started doing robotic research about how to analyze the kinematic of a knee joint.
Yeah.
This is what I started.
Yeah. And then you stayed a year in Pittsburgh?
I stayed from 2024 in Pittsburgh, and then I came back, and then I work strictly with my old boss, that he was Professor Marcacci, and I finished until he retired and he gave me his position in 2017. So it's really nice because I was appointed as associated to him about 96, and after this I became associate professor in 2011, I think, and then I became a full professor in 2016.
Yeah. And now you're currently also the department chair?
I'm running the department chair of the second clinic because Rizzoli has two clinics of university department, and I'm running one of them. And I also now the chief of the residency program in Bologna University.
Both, yeah. And so what are some challenges that you face on a daily basis being a department chair?
The department chair is that you have to run the department, you have to do the surgery, you have to take care of all my assistants, and it is not easy because I have 14 below me, and everyone has his own problem, everyone has his own, let's say, idea, and you have always to, if you want to be a chief and you want to at least teach how to become another chief or to know how it's better for your patient, you should be really stay strict and control everything every day.
Yeah,
because it's really a big problem.
How do you solve those? Everyone has their own problems. How do you keep everyone together?
It's not easy, but I have a group of people, so I give to everybody some duty to do, some following research to do. So I have a group of people who follow cartilage research. I have a group that follows sports medicine research, a group who follow hip reconstruction or hip reservation study, and then I have another group that does knee osteotomy and knee total knee.
Yeah.
So I divided in this group, and so everyone is responsible for some topic, and then I push on them every time.
Yeah. You meet on Monday with the osteotomy group?
I normally meet every week, or maybe I'm trying to do a research meeting at 7 a.m. every Friday morning, once every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. With all the different groups.
Yes, in order to run and to see how they work and what are the steps that maybe encounter some problem and so on, try to solve them.
Yeah, and then all the different groups are also learning from each other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's important to have you cannot do just one group because otherwise the other will not be aligned. Yeah. So you have to have all of the group and someone to speak about the responsible of the group that they are running.
And how do you keep those meetings effective? How do you organize that?
I have 2 engineers and one really active lady that running, and they take care, and then they push everybody daily based, and then during that they arrange to do the meeting every 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear, and I think through that you and your team are being
because I have a group of people that including the residency become maybe more than 30-35 people to be with me.
It's a big team to deal with.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, but if you want to do, you look the amount of research we are doing, so you need to have people, otherwise it's impossible to do all what the stuff that we do.
Yeah. Then going to your role as editor-in-chief, could you share with the listeners, if you receive a manuscript, what are the first 3 things that you look at?
I normally think the abstract. I look the abstract because to see if the topic is interesting and what are the methods that they've done and what they are the conclusion.
Yeah.
I just not the results. I just read the purpose, the methods, and the conclusion.
Yeah.
These are the 3 things that I start first.
Yeah. And then when you think they're positive and good, then you start reading the rest.
Then I start reading the rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you think? Because I once went up to an editor and asked the person if it's a good idea to, for example, you're in the process of coming up with a research idea and you're not really sure if it's a fit for your journal. What do you think if people email you or researchers email you beforehand? Do you think that this project will be a fit for the journal? Is that something that you would recommend?
Sometimes I have received this type of mail, and I can tell you it depends, because if just the presenting of the project, I cannot publish this, but unless it's a big, really big study, and we have published some just a project that should be done after this.
Yeah.
But this should be for a very big and important study.
Yeah.
But if they ask me if this type of study or this type of idea could be interesting, I answer normally.
Yeah.
So.
And then just going to the end of the podcast, we want to ask you for some advice for young surgeons and young researchers in the field of orthoregeneration. What would you give, maybe if you were 18 again or 20 again, what advice would you give yourself?
That you should be search the right person to follow, because I think is important. It has been important for me to have at the beginning of my career a good mentor in Italy. That was Professor Marcacci. That he teach me that I should do some research to understand what is going well and what is going bad. And then I have the chance to go even in Pittsburgh and do really increasing my capacity to understand how we should do a good research and how much is important to have this type of things.
Yeah.
And so this, I think, is important, because the young people, they just go in the video of your phone and they think to be the Bible.
Yeah.
It's not the Bible at all.
Yeah.
There's a chunk of errors that are there.
Yeah.
And you should have what they lose, the young population, the young doctors right now, is to follow some people that has experience and to follow them to understand how is important and what is important to do a good research. And this, they just go, and also the surgeons that they go a video and they do is not the way to do.
Yeah.
You should see the technique, the same technique, for thousands of times.
Yeah.
And then you understand what is good, what is bad, what can happen, what doesn't happen, and then you understand how is it good, and then you become a good surgeon.
Yeah. Well, that's I think a great way to finish off the podcast.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for being on the podcast and being our honored guest. And enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you.
This was On The Go, the podcast on orthoregeneration. For more content, stay tuned at my.on-foundation.org. Thanks for listening and have a great day.